All right, guys, our 50% off holiday annual sale is back at cogornogolf.com, where you could get coaching for the next 12 months for less than I charge for 2 hours in person. It's over 50% off our normal price. Frankly, it's like 80 to 90% off the retail when we sell everything separately. And what I find with the coaching, obviously for me, when I got a great coach, my game completely changed. I went from guessing and frustrated day to day to knowing exactly what to work on, what drills to do, when to move on to the next piece, and my game went to a completely other level. And you know what I found for myself and many of our students is that typically you're only one move away from being able to play the golf of your dreams. It's not like we have to change 7 or 10 things. Usually it's one big thing that you just haven't been able to solve that's holding you back that we could unlock. And usually that happens pretty quickly. You don't need to do hours and hours grinding on the range. I'm talking a couple minutes at home, right? A couple days a week. We've done this with over 10,000 students today. This is stuff that works for them, it worked for me. It's gonna work for you as well. Obviously with the coaching, you get access to all the goodies, over $2,000 worth of bonuses, all the live seminars, all the master classes, the complete member library, 24/7 access to a coach, everything you need to cut your handicap in half or better this next calendar year. But you have to act between now and January 1st to get that 50% off. cogornogolf.com. Please head over there and take advantage. I look forward to seeing you there. What's up, guys? Eric Cogorno here. In today's video, I've got my friend, Mr. Trevor Salzman, next to me. Appreciate you being out here.
Always good to be here, buddy.
Thank you for coming. You normally make some fashion statements, but today we took things to another level. We've got the cubes, right?
This
the
one's
cubes.
a little different, yeah, a little different.
I like this one. So today we're talking hip motion, hip rotation, pelvis motion during the downswing. Obviously a big one, Trevor, that comes up a lot for us when we're working with players in person or online, is the ability to get the hips or the pelvis working correctly during the downswing. Lots of golfers want more hip pelvis rotation, kind of stuck and square at impact. I've seen you do some videos with these that I thought were really, really cool. You can kind of guide us through what you have on there.
Yep.
And then what the purpose of those are.
Absolutely. So center of this right here, I would call this would be for the pelvis, okay? I would relate this one more to my left hip, okay? Because our hips and our pelvis are slightly different. And so we can kind of use this as a way to understand kind of functional rotation and how it works, okay? So what I would say I see a lot of out of players is either A, the center of the pelvis moves backwards, and then the left leg works backwards, or B, the only thing that happens is they just move forward or they move towards the golf ball. And so I think it's having a visual reference for a lot of us really helps in understanding what are we trying to do with it. So I think here in setup, so I start off in external, what we would call external left hip or lead hip rotation. Okay, so there's a really cool reference. I think a lot of people, firstly in the downswing, they get stuck with this too far backwards, even if they're trying to move that forward and we can't get enough pressure forward. So we can use this block to see, do I have enough pressure forward to where this is over my lead foot? Then we've got the next part of it that's really cool. Now I'm going to chase it with the center of my pelvis. So I've got pressure forward and I'm able to move the center of my pelvis to kind of chase where my pressure is and where this block is here on my left knee. I think it's a really cool way, and especially here from down the line, what we can see out of this, so if we imagine we have our hip wall right here. So I can move pressure forward, okay? So pressure can move forward, so you can see how this cube is moving forward, and the cube on the center of my hips are moving forward. And now from here, you'll see this is gonna start to work in and rotate in towards my lead leg, catching up to that block right there. All of us out there, I think it's probably the #1 topic on YouTube is we wanna stop early extending. So understanding this firstly, it's okay to move forward. Okay, let's start with this so we can see that we've got pressure forward. And then to finish things off from a rotation standpoint, we're gonna take this center block on my belt line, on my belt buckle, and I'm gonna rotate this forward into my lead leg. Still even gives me room to push and extend out of, but it's the direction that I'm moving the pelvis, because we need that part of the rotation. It's not just gonna be we've talked about some left knee rotation, and that's good. We want pressure moving forward, but we want to be able to finish that off as well. And I think this is a way, it's basically cat and mouse. We're chasing each other right there. So it's like we're starting here, we have pressure forward, boom, and then I'm chasing it there with the center of my hip, moving it into my lead leg and catching it up to that cube. I think it's a great visual for a lot of us to see how these things actually work without getting on something like gears, etc.
So good, dude. Love the visual, love the explanation. Questions first, and I'm curious. We'll hit a couple, and I want to dive in there and try that too. From a pressure forward part, so getting this, let's say if someone could reference, if they don't have the block or the cube, like the knee. And let's say, how far forward are they trying to get it? Is it like knee over the ankle, and like by when? Is there like a checkpoint?
So I think once I'm up here, once I'm here at the top, there's my left knee. So the center of my hip is further away from my left knee than where it started. Okay. And I think a good reference point is getting the cube on my left knee here, getting it onto my lead shoe.
Got it.
Getting that onto my lead shoe, and then the rest of my pressure is going to start to continue to move forward and move into it as they extend up that wall.
So getting the knee onto the lead foot, is that like, are you starting to feel that right away when you start down?
I might even say that it happens before I start down.
Okay.
I think a lot of times we're actually getting that, like that pressure is getting forward so much earlier, guys, than what we think. I think too many of us are late with it. Like some of our other videos, if we're late with all that pressure, the golf club's going to catch up too quick. And so I see a lot of this where the player goes to the top, everything moves together, we're out of balance, and then we stand up and we think we have an early extension problem. We might just have a sequence problem.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. So very, very early. And then from a feel perspective, are you quite literally, or would you tell your student like, hey, literally feel the knee to the foot? Are you feeling like the weight's increasing in the left foot? Are you feeling the pelvic? Like, how are you feeling that motion?
Yeah, I'll tell you by the time, if I'm here at the top, by the time I'm down here to about P5, I've probably got close to 80% of my pressure forward.
Yep, okay.
And again, guys, understand this pressure. Pressure does not mean everything. This would be mass. This is my entire mass moving forward. I think, again, it's pressure moving forward. It's not my entire body moving forward, but I can feel a lot of weight very early in my downswing, and that's what I rehearse a lot, is I rehearse this a lot where I'm like, boom, then I'm moving into it.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a lot of pressure that moves forward, I would say, very early in the downswing right there.
So getting that front one over the ankle and then catching it up, cat and mouse, getting the pelvis closer to the knee. Can we see you do one or two practice swings, Trevor? Then why don't we clip a ball or two out there?
Yeah, so
just to give us some visuals.
So if I'm right in here, so we can see this is further away from my left knee than where it started. I'm going to land left and move into it. So if I did this pretty slow, I'd be...
Yeah, gotcha, okay. And obviously the downswing's happening in a pretty short period of time.
It is.
But sequencing wise, we're landing left early and then pretty much trying to catch that belt buckle up to it like right away.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a boom, it's a go.
Yeah, let's clip one out there with the ball with that same thing. And then I want to put those on there and try it too.
And I like it, and again, my reference, I really think it's, if we can keep this inside of where it starts, like this is really, you guys, like this is a big time feel of mine, is keeping this inside of, like, imagine if I had a stick right here. So if I put this on the ground right here, a good visual for me would be, if this is kind of on my toe line, that I'm keeping this inside of my toe line right there.
Okay, so inside from like this angle.
Yeah, from a down the line view.
And then what shows the bad.
Moving into it.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And so that's kind of one of my visuals with this. There's my feel, and then I'll let it go.
Yeah, nice. I like that so much. We're going to pause. I'm going to put those on myself. Okay, we know we've reached the pinnacle, folks, when Trevor's popping the cubes on me here off camera. So here we go. I've got the cube and so like if the golfer doesn't have this and they're doing this at home, they would be referencing the kneecap and like the belt buckle.
Yep.
As a similar.
And you know, to help everybody else out at home, I use tape a lot. I'll use actual duct tape. Like I'll put reference points, like if I'm wearing pants like this, I'll put tape on my knee, tape on the center of my hip.
Just to have a little reference visual.
Yeah, for video. Like I use that as a video reference right there.
Okay. So I'm going here. I'm going to make my backswing. And so I'm feeling like this left knee is going over the foot like right away.
Yep.
So I'm getting pressure forward. And then after I get the pressure forward, okay, I'm catching this up.
There. Yep.
Yeah. So as we kind of talked a little bit, I mean, I definitely feel like I've got a glute engagement.
Absolutely.
You know, compared to normal. Okay, let me do that again here. So I'm falling forward is kind of my feel. The pressure's going forward, and then my belt buckle is feeling like that's catching up to it.
It's almost moving into like a post right there.
Now, will you do some of this and have someone kind of feel that impact? Kind of feel that for a couple seconds?
Yeah, I think you have to, especially to bring that awareness piece that we talked about right there. Like, I think maybe one of the mistakes that we might see out of players is we just see them continue to kind of move everything together like this, and they get this kind of like spin out look. Yeah, they get that spin out look where everything moves together. So we land left, and then you rotate the center of your hip, center of your pelvis into that, catching up to that point right there. Love that.
I love that too. Let me do a couple swings with that, Trevor. So landing left, catch up with the belt. I also really like this little add-on of, hey, as I'm doing this, I'm keeping the cube inside my
I think it's a
toe
great visual. It's
really
helped me out a ton with my own motion.
Really? Okay, let me clip one out there with that. Yeah, I almost would like mandatory add that piece in.
Yep.
To keep from the hips going too far forward.
For sure, and it just gives you a really good reference on video.
Forward, catch up to it. Okay, so I feel like the knee over the ankle, then the belt buckle catching up to it.
I mean, that didn't suck.
No, I mean, that's quite literally, I know I say it a lot on camera, but I feel like when we film, I hit it really good. I literally couldn't hit a ball better than that. Very, very good.
That was so good.
Yeah, that was solid. So I definitely, you know, again, with like the downswing happens fast.
Yep.
You know, there's not a ton of time, but I do feel like I can gain an awareness of this happening sequentially where I am getting that left knee forward, getting that front cube forward, and then from there catching that up. It does give me a really nice feel, and I do feel like I can feel that through impact.
Now, do you notice anything to the finish position when you keep going through to the finish? Do you feel anything, like how much more stable do you feel right there?
I feel really good. I definitely feel like the left glute deep and kind of more into it than typical.
Yep.
Yeah, it feels really good to do. I think having the little reference point I can see with the tape would help a lot.
Yep.
My brain just having a little bit of a cue to go along with it.
I think that's the trick right there, that piece.
I do too. And I think when you said that, I see a lot of golfers that I work with when we talk about rotating more, opening the hips, they do exactly what you said, which is as if these two would just go together the whole way.
Yeah, and they almost spin to where they get pressure backwards.
Yeah, there's definitely not that here and then catching up to it. Let me hit one more, Trevor.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. I definitely see them trying to get that going at the same time.
For sure.
And then as I'm doing this,
it's
staying right inside this stick. This might be, we've done some good hip videos, but this might be like the best one.
I think it is, truthfully.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. Okay, so down and forward. The catching up to it piece is a very micro thing that has a very macro outcome there. Okay, same feels. Yeah, I mean, I hit that very solid. Slight pull left, but very, very, very solid.
Yep.
So I like that a lot, Trevor. Gosh, I like that a lot. Subtle difference than like just, hey, purely rotating. I think that getting the pressure forward part's so important. We knocked that out early.
Yep.
And then catching this up to that.
Yeah, and like when Eric's in there, go ahead, jump in there again, buddy. When Eric's in there, like here's the thing, and this is where I think you guys from at home right here, so you can see when he works this back, so he can move pressure forward, keeping that square inside of there, and then rotates it into his lead side. I think that's a really good way that you can actually rehearse this, feel this, and practice it, and then you've got your awareness piece. See, think about this. If your pressure's not forward and I push you backwards, if I push you backwards like where you were spun out of it, you're not going to have that awareness piece in your glute right there.
I wasn't letting you do it, yeah.
Okay.
So good. I love it, Trevor. Really, really good as always. You have really awesome, unique abilities and ways to create drills for students, which I really admire. If you haven't seen Trevor's videos, we're going to link all his stuff down below. YouTube, Instagram, online coaching, in person, total stud of a golf coach. That'll all be down below. Any questions, leave us a comment. Like this video if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't. Appreciate you guys watching.